Welcome to the GCN Tech Clinic, where Connor and I will aim to answer your bike, tech and maintenance related questions. As ever, you can submit your questions down below in the comments section using the hashtag AskGCNTech, and we'll do our best to answer as many of them as possible within the allotted time.
Super Darren Wong sent this question in.
What is it?
Brilliant name. Brilliant name. Hi guys, plan to do a gravel event. I've got an all-road bike, a Ribble CGR, running an Ultegra R8000 Di2 with machine, a PS505 crank-based power meter. I'm wondering if it's possible to swap out the rear derailleur for a GRX one. If so, which one? Also, I want to drop the chainring from a 52 to a 36 to a 4642. Do I need to run a GRX front derailleur? Is that a 4642 or 4632?
Yeah, I think that's what he means, yeah. Well, a couple of things here. Firstly, the good thing is all Di2 stuff, if it's the same number of speeds. So the 11-speed stuff is separate from the 12-speed stuff, it uses a narrow gauge cable, but it's all cross-compatible. So you can, if you're running Ultegra, you can just put on a GRX rear mech, it plugs in, it works. You could put in a Jura Ace one if you wanted. So that's fine. You can put your GRX rear mech in, plug it in, connect it. That should all work good. The front mech as well, they're very similar. They are compatible. So you could get away with just keeping the same front mech. You're just going to have to adjust it to make sure it goes lower. Hopefully it should go low enough for the smaller chain set that you're wanting to fit. I'd imagine it will, but yeah, that could be a slight issue if it's not designed for it. I think it will be though. I think that'll be okay because it's not a massive step. The other slight difference which is important between a GRX front mech and an Ultegra one though is clearance. So while the actual sort of distance between the two chain rings is the same, you've got no issue there. It's the distance from the cage of the front mech outboard from the frame. Yeah. So the reason why they do this on GRX is so that it gives your front mech a bit more clearance against tyres, so you can use wider gravel tyres. That's what it's doing. So the spacing's a bit wider. But test it out. Put your setup with your gravel tyres that you want to use in there. If you've got adequate clearance with your Ultegra mech, it's fine. Keep it. Use it. If not, swap it for a GRX one to get that extra bit of clearance.
Good shout. Right, Cathal McCunith, 82868. Ollie, I'm doing the Flandrian challenge in April. I'm hoping to ride it in one day. Ooh, that's big.
That's a big ask.
That's a big ask. Good luck. A simple question. Gravel bike with 45mm tyres or road bike with max 25mm tyres? Oh. Any tips would be gratefully received. Thanks.
Well, if you've got a gravel bike, why don't you put like 30mm tyres in your gravel bike?
Yeah, I'd be...
You know what I mean?
I would lean to that.
Like, so, I mean, you've raced around there. You've done the classics, right? And so what I know is based on what you've told me. And ridden it round there myself as well. But the Flandrian cobbles aren't that bad. You don't need and most of the route is still road, and so you want road tyres. It's gonna slow you down loads if you're on gravel tyres.
I'd go 30mm. 30mm. I mean, you could go to 35 even.
The problem they've got is like 20. I mean, you could do it on 25s.
Oh, I raced 25s my whole time.
That's it. You know, you could do it on 25s.
23 actually.
Like the Flandrian cobbles aren't that bad. Like you can get up them on 25s. You don't need to run super low pressures. It's not that bad. Like you can do it on 25s. 25s would be all right. If you do want more comfort, and it is going to be over 300 kilometres this ride.
Well, that's it. I think if you were doing like 50 or 80k ride, 25s, but the fact you're doing 300k, I think at the end of that you'll appreciate the comfort.
I would say do the gravel bike, but if you can drop the tyres down to like 30 or 28s on the gravel bike, and that would be the way to go. That's why because I'm guessing they don't have the clearance on their road bike for bigger than 25, and that's why they're asking. But yeah, there you go. Next question is from Tanail Zul, who says, love the show. Apologies for this question, but I've been living under a rock and recently learned that quick release thru-axles are a thing. Can I convert my hub to a quick release thru-axle if I change my cartridge bearings and they have an inner diameter of 11 millimeters? Also, what would be the potential gains? I can already imagine maintenance will be easier since I wouldn't have to undo the lock nuts when servicing hub bearings. Thanks in advance and keep updated over at GCN Megabase. Have you used a quick release thru-axle before?
Just trying to think.
I just don't see the point. I don't see why you would need one because you just use an Allen key or a hex wrench and it just works fine. Just have a 6. I mean, most of them are 6mm. Just have a 6mm with you, and then you can just take them out and do it, and it holds them securely.
Yeah,
and it's simple. It's like often there's no lever. It's just flush, and it's like.
Less things to go wrong.
Yeah, like there was when disc brakes first sort of started taking off on road bikes, there was a system which was being used on Focus bikes, and Merida used it, and some Velos I think had it for a while as well, which was this rat quick release thru-axle system. You don't see it anymore, like used spec OEM on bikes. I think you can still buy them, but they're not used OEM. And the reason why they're not used OEM is they weren't very reliable. They were a bit of a faff, and they just weren't as good as just using a 6mm.
Yeah, I think stick to your Allen key.
I would just use there's no need to change from a normal thru-axle.
Yeah, I mean, or just get like a Allen key that clips into the thru-axle.
Yeah,
so it's always there, ready to use.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd do that. Let's go with the faff of a quick release.
This sounds like a lot of faff for no real benefit.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right, Adam Gregory Fogel. Hey y'all, haven't made a switch to tubeless tyres. I ride a circa 1980s Schwinn road bike around as a daily commuter. I'm not sure if the technology works with my frame. My question is, what do you recommend to help prevent punctures? I've seen things like solid rubber tyres and liners that go between the inner tube and the tyre. I always ride with a patch kit on me, so fixing the flat isn't a problem. It's just annoying to do so. I think the best thing to do is your tyre choice, really. When you next come to upgrade your tyres, make sure you've got a really puncture-resistant tyre if that's something that is really important to you, especially if you're using it as a daily commuter.
Thing is, with daily commuters, you don't want to be doing the faff and the maintenance all the time. You know, you just want to just have something that's just bomb-proof, don't you?
Yeah.
And you're not bothered about having performance, low rolling resistance, crazy tyres. You just want puncture protection and longevity. Yeah. And there's a lot of really good tyres out there that offer that. You know, that is, as you say, that's the primary thing here. Yeah.
Just every winter, even when I was like racing training, every winter I'd always swap to like puncture. More like tyres that are orientated around being like puncture proof. Yeah. Because you don't want to be doing that. Like if that's not your goal, you don't want to be doing that.
And you know, the other thing is as well is like your butyl tubes, you don't have to pump them up every day. They're very good at holding air. And that, you know, some tubeless systems often you're sort of, they're leaking a bit of air. Some of them are, sometimes your tubeless system miraculously seems to hold air very well and you can go days without having to pump them up, but most of them you're pumping every ride. And for a performance bike, you're up for that. You want to dial in your pressure because there's big gains to be had. But for a commuter, you just want to grab the bike and head out the door. And I just think, butyl tube, really solid bomb-proof tyre.
What do you think about a bit of sealant in the tube?
You could do that. It'll offer a little bit of protection.
A little nicks.
A little bit. It doesn't work as effectively as having an actual dedicated tubeless setup, but it can work a bit. But I think, I wouldn't faff around with tyre liners either, because they can be very difficult to get out and install if you have a problem. So run flat liners as well. I wouldn't bother with that. Yeah.
Right, Mechanic 767. Hello, you two. Ollie recently made a vid about upgrades and talked about replacing the pulley wheels with something higher end if you use Shimano 105 or lower grade group set. I run a 10-speed cassette Tiagra. I'm wondering if Ultegra Durace pulley wheels for bigger cassettes is going to be a problem if I put them on my 10-speed.
So the problem is not the size of the cassette, it's the speed. So because of how it interacts with the gauge of the chain, so you're basically looking at other 10-speed options and you wouldn't go wrong. So there was Dura-Ace 10-speed back in the day. You know, there's Ultegra 10-speed, and there'll be aftermarket sort of non-Shimano options that are 10-speed pulley wheels as well. What you're fundamentally looking for is pulley wheels that have bearings in them rather than the bushings. So on 105 level and below on Shimano, the pulley wheels have these bushings, which are just way less efficient and they get quite stiff. Whereas on Ultegra and above, they have bearings in them, and it's not much money to switch out to the Ultegra ones. I think it's a good little upgrade to do, and you get a lot of the performance there basically for not much expenditure. So yeah, look for some other 10-speed ones out there. There's a lot of different things available.
Yeah, good shout.
Next one is from Mark Lamarine, and this is the last question this week. And they say, I'm mounting strap-on mudguards to my carbon frame for a messy winter. I can use electrical tape, but that's ugly and it's messy when removing it. Do you have any recommendations for household or the common products that is transparent, effective, and easier clean to remove? Custom frame protection decals seem pretty pricey, and I can't readily find them for my Jamis Supernova team.
Yeah, so what I'd say, what I do is I just buy a roll of that like frame protection tape.
Yeah, heli tape.
Yeah, and you can get that like most online retailers, just a roll of it. It's much more cost effective than getting the custom shapes.
Yeah, and the other thing that you can get is 3M. Do you know what 3M stands for?
No.
Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing Company.
Never knew that.
There you go, big multinational. Anyway, they make loads of stuff, but one of the things they make is lots of different tapes, yeah? And they actually make sheets that you can buy of like a sort of good, thick, clear plastic, like acetate stuff, that then you can buy it in a sheet, like a sort of A4 sheet of it, and then you can cut that to the size you want to, like, say, go on a down tube and give you a load of protection there.
Yeah.
And yeah, really good stuff. Like, definitely for protecting your bike, you absolutely want to be sticking some sort of protection on there. But yeah, some clear tape, and it doesn't cost loads of money. But like heli tape is one. 3M make loads of stuff. Yeah, definitely.
I have a roll of it in where I do my mechanic stuff, and like anytime I go bike pack, and I put it on parts of the bike that are going to rub, just to protect the frame a bit. Just make sure when you take it off, like use a hairdryer or like some sort of
use a hairdryer to get it off.
Yeah, and you just heat it up a bit so glue melts slightly, and then it just comes off way easier, and you won't risk like peeling the paint off with a sticker.
I mean, in terms of then with the next question, next part of the question is like, how do you clean it and get it off? I mean, this applies to like a lot of stuff. So like Silka have their sealant remover, which is quite nice as well for getting rid of sealant, but it's quite useful on sometimes if you have like something sticky residue on the bike, like some glue or something. It's quite good for that. And a lot of sort of degreasers and things are just generally quite good at removing that glue residue and getting that off. Just with then, like, you use a soft wash mitt as well with it. Give it a wash and then get that stuff off with use a microfiber or something like that. Yeah. That's not going to be too abrasive on the frame. Yeah, should be good.
Yep, there you go. Hope that helps and keeps your bike feeling fresh as well. Right. Good idea to get the old mudguards on.
Yeah, that's all we've got time for this week. Keep your questions coming in. Hopefully we can answer them next week. We're going to go now. Love you, bye.